Beautiful. All right, I'm on my way to my coach's house to pick up some balls. And I was just realizing how important it is to have mentors. It's probably been the most impactful, beneficial thing in my life for volleyball, beach volleyball, but also with my walk with the Lord. Like literally everything. So I want to share a little bit about that. And so you might think like, okay, mentorship's important because it gives you knowledge that you don't have. And I think that's part of it. Like there is an aspect of like just the unknown and like people who have walked the path before you. They've made all the mistakes. They know all. If you think of it like you're crossing through a landmine, they know where all the landmines are. They know where the safe spots are. They've done it before. And I think that like it's really good for laying a foundation of how to live life, how to play the sport, how to do different things. But this is something, I mean, I deal with my coach all the time of like, hey, the game's changing. Like things are changing. So the landmines are moving. Like now you have good intuition to recognize maybe where those landmines might be. These people who have laid the foundation, they actually know like why the game isn't played in many different ways. They know why not to do certain things, even though maybe they haven't adapted to the new ways of doing things. So anyway, that spiel just to say like the knowledge aspect of having a mentor is important. But what I was realizing is like really the most important thing is mentors cause your standard to be higher. They challenge your understanding of like what good volleyball is or what doing something well is. And that's been the most impactful thing for me in beach volleyball. So like when I first started playing beach, my coach and I would do simple free ball passes. And I hated it. I was like, I've been playing my whole life. I've done thousands of free ball passes. I already know how to do this. And he's like, well, like you think you do, but you really don't. So we just did these simple, boring passes, simple, boring sets, very simple, just practices were just boring. But what I didn't realize was happening was his standard was higher for the most simple things. And that's what it usually is. It's not more complexity. It's not like learning more, doing more. It's doing what you know, what you know to do and doing it at a higher level, holding yourself to a higher standard. And you need somebody else, like a coach, a mentor, to hold you to that higher standard that you like can't hold yourself to because you don't even know it exists or maybe aren't willing to. That's why like the best coaches I've had ever are the ones I've hated because they make me do things that I don't want to do. They've like pushed me because they see my potential and they know the standard, they know the potential that's out there and they hold you to it. They make you do things you don't want to do, and that's what a leader is. They're not just trying to make the people happy that they're leading. They're doing what's best for them. And a big main part of that is challenging them. Yes, going before them, going ahead of them, trailblazing, putting themselves on the line, taking on the responsibility. Because if they tell you to do something and you do it wrong, or if they tell you to do something and you do what they say, but it doesn't work, now the burden is on them. What they do is they hold you to a higher standard. So like, I'm thinking about this a lot right now with business, with maybe social media. Like, I mean, I've never started a business before, at least not to the scale that I'm running one now. Like, I don't really even know what the standard is. Like, I'm sure there's so many little things that I'm not doing that somebody who's been in business for a while just knows intuitively, like, hey, this is what you should do. So like I'm thinking about that right now. Like, where do I even find that mentor for business? You know, like, business people I think are some of the trickiest to work with. I did a sales thing for a little bit, and I was selling to business owners. And dude, I realized talking to business owners is tough. Like, you have to be kind of crazy to start your own business. Like, the amount of risk that you take on starting a business is kind of insane. Like, you have to fully believe in yourself, believe in the mission, and even when all the odds are against you, like most businesses fail. And you just have to be like so good at so many different things, getting people to do what you want them to do. So dealing with business owners is already just tough in general, getting to them. But getting them to mentor you, yeah, we'll see. I mean, my pastor, he was a business guy before he became a pastor. So like he'd be an option. I'm sure there's people, but that's just something I'm realizing like I need, and that I don't really, like, I take this advice. A lot of the advice I give for volleyball, I'd like try to apply it in other aspects because it really applies to all the same things. Like, I mean, I said it in this video, it's the simple things, doing the simple things at a higher standard. That's like what makes great players, what makes people great at what they do. So like in music, for example, I like making music. I don't like playing scales on the piano. I just don't like doing that. I don't like reading music. But these are the basic, simple, boring things that are needed to become great at what you do. It's the free ball passes. It's the setting the same ball over and over again. That's what makes a great player. It's reading your Bible in the morning, even though you've read it 100 times, even though you have it memorized, maybe still reading it and still trying to look at it with a fresh mind, a fresh perspective. Praying every morning, praying every day, even when maybe you've prayed the same prayer many times and you feel like it hasn't been answered yet. You feel like things haven't changed. It's like, okay, well, you might just not recognize that things have changed. You might not recognize you have been making improvements. And that's when you got to stick with it. That's why, like, you can't just go based off feeling like, oh, I feel like I'm doing well today. I feel like I'm making improvements. I feel like working hard. It has to be deeper than that. It can't just be how you feel. Like, you have to have a deeper reason. You have to. Well, I think the only deeper reason is believing that God has called you to do what you're doing. Every other motivation is fleeting, is fading, will eventually die. If you do it for the success, if you do it for the fame, the glory, even just if you do it for yourself, which a lot of people say, do it for yourself so you feel accomplished or whatever. Like, that's a feeling. These things are fleeting. You're not going to feel like it one day. One day you're going to realize, hey, it wasn't worth everything I did it for. I have that feeling when I have those thoughts when I'm training and I'm doing hundreds of burpees in the rain, in the cold. We're about to practice right now. It's going to rain. I have those feelings, those thoughts. Is this really worth it? No. That's the thought. This is not worth it. Why am I doing this? When I'm 90 burpees in with a 20-pound weight vest on after doing sprints in the sand, in the cold, in the winter, 6 a.m. I'm like, is this really worth winning a volleyball game? No. That's the answer. No. But then I remember while I'm doing that, it's like, okay, well, that's not the reason why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because God has called me to do it. He's given me this gift, this talent that I should be a good steward of. I'm doing it to have a platform so that people would listen to the gospel being preached, to have influence, right? Like, that's why, because I believe God has called me to do it, not because I feel like it or I want to, or I want the fame or the money or the blah, blah, blah. that stuff does not last. It doesn't. So you're really just wasting your time if that's your motivating factor. So people message me all the time, how do I stay motivated to work hard? People are doubting me, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, it's always the same question. Well, why are you doing it? Why are you playing? That'll answer most of your questions. Why? Like, is it a real reason? Or just because you feel like it? Because that's, when we as humans are different than animals, we don't just do what we feel. We do what we know is right. That's why we even have morals. That's why we're able as humans to have morals. Because we know what's right and wrong. We don't just go based off what we feel, because if we did what we felt, things would go terribly wrong. So next time you're training, next time you're going to work and you don't want to, just remember like why you're doing it. But all these like self-help improvement gurus, they say, oh, you need to have a good why. You need to have a good why. The only good why is because God said so. That's the only good why. Like literally the only good why. Even when you're debating people maybe about morality, you can get into the weeds of like, oh, this is better than this, and statistically, like, marriages that are same-sex marriages don't last as long. It's like, okay, well, sure, like all these talking points, these stats, like might be true, but at the end of the day, it's because God said so. Not because we think it's right, because there's going to be so many things that best. There's things that God calls you to do that you're like, well, this doesn't make any sense. Why would I do that? Logically, it doesn't make any sense. But the Lord has told you to do it. So what are you going to listen to? Your own understanding of things? Or what the Lord told you to do? It's the same way, same thing that goes on with parents and children. The parent tells them, hey, don't run in the street. And the kid's like, why not? That makes no sense. I want to run in the street. There's no cars right now. But the parent sees that, like, hey, there's actually potentially the car goes around the corner really fast and hits you and kills you, and it's for your best. You might not see it now, but I've lived life long enough to know that happens. So that's why we do things, because your mentor, they hold you to a standard, but